President, sir, friends, some of you might have heard a story. Once upon a time, there was a jolly little prince, and he was loved by all the people in the palace and the court of the king. But he was very moody and very adamant in things which he loved to do. Once he fell ill. Well, the sickness was nothing very complex or severe, but it was a peculiar type of sickness which required him to undergo a certain discipline if he were to recover soon. The physician said that he must give up eating sweet for 6 months. The king, the father, requested the child to give it up for 6 months. But the child was so fond of sweet that he would either eat only sweet or eat nothing else. All the well-wishers advised him, pleaded with him, but to no result. And the condition was worsening. Well, not far from the town, there was a sage who lived in a jungle, a hermit, and once in a while, the royal family used to visit this hermit. The king and the queen, along with the prince. And this prince was so restless otherwise, always frolicking, jumping. He would behave like a very good child in front of the sage. Whatever the sage says, he would keep on listening with great attention. And so, one day the queen suggested to the king that, well, let us request the hermit to ask the boy to refrain from eating sweet for 6 months. I believe the boy would abide by his advice because he has so great respect for the sage. The king went to the hermit and made a request accordingly. The hermit said, certainly, I should advise the prince to forbear from taking sweet, but you give me 7 days time. After that, I will do it. 7 days passed. The day the king was to lead the prince to the hermit's ashram on a palanquin, the hermit's messenger came and asked the king to wait for another 1 week. A fortnight later, the king, the queen, in the company of the prince, went to the hermit, and after some pleasantries, the hermit asked the boy to stop taking sweet for a period of 6 months. Will you do so, my child? Instantly the boy, beaming with joy, said, of course I will do it. I will not take. Why 6 months for 1 year? Well, 6 months passed and the child was totally cured of the disease. The curious king one day met the hermit and asked him, my holy man, for just giving such a small, simple advice, why did you feel hesitant twice? And why did you require a fortnight's time? And the sage said, you see, when first you asked me to give him this advice, I had absolutely no right to give him that advice because I was myself so fond of taking sweets. During that week, I stopped taking sweet altogether. Even then, I did not earn the right, the adhikar, to ask the boy for refraining from taking sweet because I found that I had still attachment to sweet. The remaining 7 days, with a strenuous discipline, a determination, I won over that attachment. Only then I had earned the right to ask the child not to take sweet. When I had stopped, I had not only stopped taking sweet, but I had also won a victory over my slightest attachment to sweet. Well, this is an introduction because it came to my mind when I was having a little introspection about the subject on which I have been asked to speak. Our secretary, Mr. S. Dhanandan, has several times beforehand asked me to speak on meditation. I have avoided it. I thought a time will come, perhaps I should have a siddhi in meditation myself, and only thereafter I should have the right to speak on such a subject, but I find it is a far-fetched proposition for me to have a kind of siddhi in meditation when I should be able to speak on meditation with the authority. But I believe, well, even if I speak in what I honestly believe, that would go not a long way but a short way in shedding some light on this formidable subject, meditation. Sometimes we should tread the grounds with angels even fear to tread. Well, you may ask me this question, that why do I consider this subject to be such a formidable topic? Today this meditation is so much in the atmosphere. Well, there are training courses conducted in meditation. There are principles formulated, almost patented, and given out as secrets of meditation. Why should I look upon the issue as something really so very difficult? Now, frankly speaking, anything that becomes patented becomes indeed dangerous, and more so when the thing concerns human consciousness. Even a patent medicine from mystic psychological point of view by itself is a dangerous thing for physical elements even, because no two physical constructions and constitutions are the same. But even that works. But when a patent prescription for a psychological discipline becomes widespread, a discipline which concerns human consciousness, then I repeat, it is a ground which angels fear to tread, but others step in. Who are the others, I need not say. Now, undoubtedly today, meditation is a very popular phrase, very widely discussed subject. Sociologically, there are two reasons. One reason is there is a worldwide awakening towards the inner values or higher values of life. Man today, despite all his physical comforts, his access to many avenues of enjoyment, is not satisfied with his life, with the type of existence to which he has come today, and he is certainly looking forward to some other experience of life. Is there some other sublime touch to our life available? Could there be some secret by which I could have a different taste of life? This is a worldwide phenomenon today, a seeking, a quest, which has grown not because we do not have anything, but because we have too many things, but these too many things are failing to somehow satisfy us or satisfy our entire being. It might satisfy our surface being, but it does not satisfy the whole being. The second reason is man today is bored with too many people. This is not my reading of the situation, this is the sociological view. We have too many people in the world. Every now and then, we have to, in 20th century, man has to communicate more with human beings than ever he did in 19th, 18th, 17th or 16th century. Now, even a villager living in a remote village, he is not cut off from the world thanks to the modern media, communication media. Now he has a radio, he has the access to newspaper, the community center is there blaring out the latest news. Although his situation seems to be apparently quite isolated, but that is only a physical fact, but psychologically, mentally, he is a part of the total humanity today. Hence, something happening in a faraway country also concerns him. He might not care to be concerned about it, but perhaps he has an escape. Because of this demand over every individual to become a part of total humanity, again on the surface only, we have not yet realized that inner oneness which pervades the entire humanity, yet we are obliged to, willy-nilly, we are compelled to become a part of the surface of humanity. There is a reaction to it. There is an opposite pull to be indrawn. From the demand to be pulled out, there is a kind of revolt, a kind of call to become recollected, to become isolated, to become myself. Now, these are the two major sociological reasons for which yoga or meditation have become such popular issues today. Now, I propose to be very practical, and I propose to limit the scope of the subject so far as we, the common men, are concerned. Among us, there could be one or two uncommon men, they bear with me. Now, so far as the common man is concerned, we know the meditation is a term often associated with very high states of consciousness such as samadhi, trance. Now, one who has the experience of trance, samadhi, for him there is no need for any discussion on the issue of meditation. He has gone to the level, the plane of consciousness to which meditation can lead. Particularly when meditation is followed as a discipline of what is known as Raja Yoga. Raja Yoga takes recourse to Hatha Yoga, certain physical disciplines through asanas, leading to pranayama, and with these asanas and pranayama, a certain very rigid concentration is taken recourse to, through which one arrives at a state called samadhi. I would be the last person to advise anybody, if advice is the word, to proceed depending on any theory or any lecture or any talk along that razor-edged path that is to be followed only under strict supervision of an able master, one who is a past master in arriving at that stage at his will. He alone can guide somebody to take that particular course. Forget about it. Has meditation any role to play in our life as we lead it? Again, we come back to the meaning of this term meditation. They are very close almost synonymous with two other words, concentration and prayer. Often the phrase prayer and meditation is a complete phrase by itself. Now, what is the difference between concentration, meditation and prayer? You all know meditation is a translation of dhyana, that is in most the word which is available to most of the languages in India, from which the word Zen has come. Dhyana has become Zen in Zen Buddhism, Dhyana Buddhism. Now, this difference between meditation is concentration is an important point of understanding. Any scientist, when he carries on a long research work, is concentrating on the subject. Any barrister, when he is studying a point of law, he is concentrating on the subject until he has hit upon the right argument which he required. Scientist continues in his concentration unless he has come to a point when he can prove the hypothesis with which he started the research. Is meditation a similar thing? Not exactly. It is similar, no doubt, but meditation is concentration with a spiritual motive. To put it very simply, meditation is concentration, but not with any social, literary, legal, scientific end in view, but a concentration with a spiritual motive. We will come to it later again. Does it differ from prayer? Well, often concentration, prayer, both are two wings of the central being that is meditation. But one can pray without meditation. One can meditate without prayer. Although they often go together, but one cannot meditate without concentration, although one can concentrate without meditation. Now, how does one come to this decision that such a thing called meditation is helpful to the daily life or the life as we live it? Well, one thing is certain. As long as one feels totally satisfied with the form of life which is his, he has no need for meditation. We don't make it a social discipline. In fact, never in the mystic tradition such things have been given, offered to the community freely. All of you should do this. No. Never the mystics and seers of the past asked everybody to meditate. It is only those who feel that having everything in my life, I still need something deeper, something higher. One who feels that all that I know as myself is only a part really of myself, something tells me that, well, deeper, below or beneath my surface mind, my superficial thoughts, my intelligence, there could be something else which is, I know it is there, but it does not reveal itself every day in my daily communications with the world. Only when one begins to feel that, he has a reason to come to look for meditation. As long as one is satisfied with the external life, he does not know that there is an internal life. We call it an external life. As long as one is satisfied with the life he is leading, as a businessman or as a service holder or as a poet, a writer, a scientist, anything, As long as he is satisfied, he has no need for meditation. But absolutely, it's a fact also that there are always individuals who find that as they know the life is not the whole of life. This feeling sometimes comes as symbols, sometimes comes just as a dissatisfaction without any reason. Often you will come across people who have got everything, but then who just say, well, I do not know why I am haunted by a sense of futility. Why this sense of futility comes? He tries to explain it to himself. He tries to be very logical. He tries to be rational. And he does not find a total satisfaction with all his arguments. Yet it becomes gradually, this is almost a regular process, it gradually manifests as an irritation. Others are surprised. Why is he feeling irritated when he has no apparent any reason to feel so? Everything we are doing, we are trying to make him happy through them, but he feels irritated. Unfortunate, I should say, is the man if he does not understand that this dissatisfaction, despite having everything at his command, is due to a subtle law of growth, a law to which all of us belong. And that law of growth now demands, it is high time you look for your inner being. Everything with the external is okay, but you must look for the inner being. Now, that is the time when some discipline has to be followed for the discovery of the inner being. One of the easily available discipline is meditation. How to begin? As I promised, let me be within my very limited scope of knowledge as well as meager practice. Let me come to a very practical aspect of the whole situation, and let us see how it can be helpful to others. Now, the first principle of meditation is to believe that I have an inner self separate from the self with which I am known to the world. What is the first aspect of myself with which I am known to the world? My physical self. Physical self with all the identity tags. One tag is that I am a man, dark or white or brown or this and that with complexion, such and such height. A man born of such and such parentage, with such and such nationality, religion, culture, education. All these belong to the surface personality. That is why I say they are the physical identity tags attached to me, including my name. Often, throughout one's life, one does not question, I am known by such and such, X, Y, or Z. How much am I responsible for this particular identity which I have accepted to be myself and the world has accepted to be myself? The moment anybody calls me by that identity, I respond. In 99.9% cases, we will see, even this was given to me by father or a family friend or a grandfather. I have not decided for this very first frontier of identity, with which I have let myself be known and known myself for years together. Next question. Well, without any murmur, without any protest, there is no sense in my protesting about it also. I have accepted such and such man to be my father, such and such man to be my mother. Woman to be my mother. Did I ever choose these parents? No, I have not chosen these parents at all for myself. Hence, my identity, so far as it goes, along with my name and my parentage, cannot be really my identity because I have not chosen them consciously. Nationality. Did I ever consciously opt for this particular nationality? No. I just happened to be born in that country, in that nation. This religion? No, not even that. This cultural background? Not even that. As one begins to take stock of oneself, the very identity by which he has founded his personality for years, one feels so much of it is just imposed on him, whether imposed by parents, society, or providence, whatever it be. But so much of it has been imposed on him, and without any question, he or she has taken these things to be the real facets, the real aspects of his own personality, his own being. They are the identities. As one begins to be indrawn, one finds that they are collapsing one after another simply because nothing of this has been chosen by him. As one sits down, reflects on these things, meditation begins with reflection. As one reflects on these things, one sees that, well, a process of neti, I am not this, I am not that, I am not this. It goes on, leading us gradually to a kind of experience which might mentally appear to be a vacuum, but which indeed is not a vacuum. When I pierce through all these layers of my identity, I come to a condition, a mental state, which is not a zero, although if I am to describe it mentally, most probably I will say, well, it has no form. How to describe it? Zero? Well, maybe that can be a symbolic word for that. But then, if I am sincere in my pursuit, when I say sincere in my pursuit, what do I mean? I mean, if my goal is spiritual, I would not land just in a vacuum, but indescribable though the state of consciousness may be, the words may not be sufficient to explain, to define that experience. I feel an overwhelming sense of being, a being which is totally different from that aspect of the being with which I have known myself and the world has known me. Do we need a term? Maybe that is the threshold of my inner being, which I may call the soul. In other words, one who takes up the course of meditation or discipline of meditation, he believes that there is a second self, an inner self, which is independent of my body, my mind, my intelligence, my intellect, my emotions, passions. There is something, because all these things I have experienced, yet if I feel that I am not limited to them, that means there is still something hiding behind all these things. So the prerequisite condition, one is, I believe that beneath my surface self or behind my surface self, there is a self. There is a name is not important, but I call it soul. My point, my purpose of meditation may be to arrive at that point, a cultivation of intimacy with the neglected part of my being, hitherto ignored self of my being, the soul. we have to have a goal for meditation. Why I say we have to have a goal for meditation? Without this spiritual goal, there is a danger that between my surface self and my inner self, many illusory formations, these are of course mystic terms, but they must be, many of you must be familiar with these terms. There is a possibility of many different formations, psychological formations, coming and deceiving me as the voice of my soul. For example, broadly speaking, a man has four aspects to his being. Physical aspect, his vital being, that is his life with all the emotions and passions, his mind with the command over the faculty of intelligence,